Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. Good morning, Peter.
Morning, Bill. Morning, everybody, or afternoon, or evening, wherever
we
you
started
are,
a little late
whenever
this
you
morning.
are, however you are.
We started a little late this morning. We had some technical stuff going on, but we fixed it, and here we are. So we are about to record episode number 317, podcast number 317, and the title of this podcast is 3 Word Formulas Every Creative Real Estate Investor Needs Today. Word formulas. Huh.
I'm not
Where
even
did I
sure
get
what that is.
from?
Word formulas.
Yeah, I'm going to teach you today, Peter.
I'll just wait. I'll just keep listening.
Here is the description. In today's dog-eat-dog creative real estate game, it is critical to know every problem, question, roadblock, and result your seller is encountering during the process. Because if you don't understand them, you won't be able to use these formulas that could make you a millionaire, possibly. In the next 12 months, which, by the way, could be one of the most historical times to do creative real estate, the word formulas we are about to divulge in today's podcast will be the best and simplest strategy you will ever encounter in real estate. Here is why. If you have not listened to this podcast, you will not know them. Makes sense, right?
I definitely don't know what they are for sure. You're right on that one.
Good. Which means if you do listen, you will know them and be the only one you know with these secret weapons and close way more deals. In other words, they work. And I only know this because I have personally seen them put sellers through the mental process that sets them up to do business with you. And only you. If you are looking to ignite, if you are looking to ignite a fire with sellers to use your creative real estate methods, this episode is absolutely perfect for you.
Boy, is your timing good. Your timing's good because I have a deal on the line, and
okay.
I don't think anyone else can help this guy. I mean, he's toast. But I'm going to listen to what you say. So for sure, when we talk to this guy today or tomorrow, that's it. Doors closed. I'm it. And there's nobody else. That was big what you said. And there's nobody else.
There you go.
That's the problem. We can buy it, but what if someone else can? And someone else can? Then, what good is it?
Well, the last couple of podcasts, I think the last 3 minimally that I can think of without looking at the book, if you've noticed, they've been all about this, and it's not been popular. My downloads have been lower. And this irritates me because this is the meat and potatoes of creative real estate. It's how you talk to the seller. But I wanted to do it mostly for my coaching clients and a few other reasons. But the point is this. There has been in my world, meaning me and my coaching clients and my meetups, I speak to somewhere around 10,000 people a week, between the podcast and my emails and my support tickets and my deals and my customers and, that kind of stuff. So I like to think I have my finger on the pulse a bit. I can always do more, but I'd like to think that.
Sure.
And what I've noticed is that there's been a rash of You make the deal, you get it all set up, you even get through the memorandum where they promise to do it, and then the deals blow up when you get the paperwork.
Yeah, but they blow up quietly.
Yeah.
Like in a whisper, like, what happened, right?
Yeah, you don't even know what happened. They just disappear, right? So what I've done is some research on my own, just kind of like, and when I mean research, it's observation. I mean, the best thing you can do to study anything is to like observe it.
Yeah.
And I don't mean observe it with your stuff. Like observe it like if you have your head turned, like this, and I say to you, Peter, how many years do I have?
Just one right now, Bill.
Yeah, you can only see one, so that you can assume I have 2 years, but you only see one. So you have to observe things for exactly what they are, which is what I've done. And the thing that I have observed the most is that because of the pandemic and because of all the things that have gone on since then, and this whole, inflation thing, and new presidency, and all these new laws, is we've gotten away from knowing what the person really wants. Like, why are they selling? What is their problem? What is their ruin? What is the thing that's causing them to sell this house? And when you miss that, you lose everything. And even I've been doing it, because it's like people just want cash, so you go right into the cash number and you don't find out why.
Yeah.
And you lose them because another cash deal comes along, and they just sweep you under the rug. Well, I got a better deal over here. And they don't even feel like they need to communicate to you about it. They just disappear.
Yeah.
Anyways, we got off on a little tangent there. So let's do our housework stuff first. So first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for our listeners. Thank you for everybody that listens to us and gives us reviews and subscribes, which if you haven't done it already, please, wherever you're watching us or listening to us, subscribe to the channel or subscribe to wherever you are. Make sure you leave us a review or a like or something like that, because that helps us a lot with others that are checking us out, but it also helps us know that you care about what we're talking about and that we're just not doing this. I mean, it takes me 5 or 6 hours a week, sometimes a little bit longer, to do this podcast, and no disrespect, or I'm not bragging, but I average about $500 an hour, so it's a little bit of money for me to do this, plus all the equipment and all that stuff. And Peter's in the same boat. I mean, so between us, we're putting in, quite a bit of time to make sure you have help. So just have some respect for us and just leave us a review. Tell us you like us or hate us or whatever you want to do. That's it. In the description, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's a give and take world, and people get a little bit panicky or concerned or a little worried, and they start taking, but you can only pull on a rope so much. You got to give and take. That's all.
Yep. So, lastly, wherever you're watching us or listening to us, there is a link in the description that will help you with the content for today. I put a lot of surprises in there. I know, like, for example, a couple weeks ago, or a couple podcasts ago, I say weeks ago because they're weeks to me, but a couple podcasts ago, I put a form in there on how to do your offers.
Yep.
Well, I put the form in there for free. It's the only place I put it for free. I didn't put it anywhere else. And then a week later, we put it on sale for $67, and now you have to pay $67 to get it. So, I mean, not that that's a big deal, but
no,
there's
that was
a lot
good
of things.
form. That wasn't just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
That was a guide on how to approach your deals and the money and what to offer and how do you know what you're going to get. That was a big, big deal.
Yeah, thank you. But more importantly, the link was there, and you could have got it. If you were listening to that podcast, you could have got it for free, but now you can't. So, anyways, so go in the link and check things out. And last thing is if we have any questions about the podcast, you could send me a support ticket at flippinghousesforrookies.com. And we live stream every Thursday morning, 9:30ish a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you just go to YouTube or Facebook, type in Flipping Houses for Rookies. As we're live streaming, you can send us a question about the podcast, not about something else. I'm only going to talk about the podcast because we only have so much time to be here, and I don't want to get off on some other tangent and not get the podcast content delivered.
It's only fair.
So here we go. Start of podcast. Zig Ziglar once said, You can have everything you want in life if you will help enough people to get what they want.
That is all. I haven't heard his name in years. I used to hear it a lot in college. Say that again. That was awesome.
You can have everything you want in life if you help enough people get what they want.
Okay, I like it. I'm going to write that down. I like that one.
Good.
It's true.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
true.
My whole life is around it.
It is. Folks, Bill came to my house before we were working together, maybe a year or two before, just to help me with my own personal music business. He spent an hour and a half, working out some debug, some ideas. We could do this, you could do that, call the school, use the music teachers, blah, 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 blah. Marketing ideas, way to reach people, to help them. And I said, gee, can I do something for you? You want some money or something? He says, no, that was just to help you. And he left. We were friends at the time, but not like come on over for dinner friends yet. And he just does that. And he does that stuff. He's crazy like that. But you have to help people.
Karma.
Somebody helps you.
I don't want to get off into a tangent because I could do this entire podcast on this, but I was just reviewing some materials, and I've been reading a lot lately. I've been trying to get off the TV. Not that I watched a lot of it, but I've been reading a lot lately. And I've been working longer days. I try to read a couple hours a day if I could, hour and a half, hour a day sometimes.
Wow.
Sometimes I don't do it some days, and then I'll do it for a couple hours another day.
Yeah.
And one thing that I noticed is, while reading is that help is a big button. And you can gauge somebody's personality on whether they can give help or can't give help. It's a huge indicator on someone's mental state.
Absolutely. You can say, hey, you want some help? I don't want any help. I don't need it. You can get that kind of crazy reaction from people. It's how bad it can get. Absolutely.
So here we go. You can have everything you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. But what do they want?
Damn it, there's always a but.
And if you are lucky enough to know that, then what problems or barriers do they have? Why aren't they getting it? Why do they go to asking questions?
Say that last one again.
Why do they go to asking questions? They know what they want.
Yeah.
So they know what they want, and they have problems and barriers, but they don't have it. So why do they go to asking questions? What prompts them? What makes them go to asking questions? They're going to ask questions because they don't know, right?
Yeah.
They don't know. There's something there. They either don't know what they want, and I'm off script right now, but let me finish this. What roadblocks do these sellers have? And why do they think or consider them roadblocks? So I'm going to get into this in a little while, but just to give you a little hint, is it their imagination or is it something real they see?
Oh. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we talk a lot about, us rookies, trying to do some deals, and we come up with questions like, well, what if this happens? Or what if that? And you go, what? This happened at the last seminar we were at, the last workshop. People are asking questions, to the moderator. The guy goes, what are you asking questions like that for? That shit doesn't happen. What's the matter with you? Stop asking those stupid questions. Stop looking for trouble. Stop inventing reasons you can't do this. Stop. Because they're, so you can't. Now, it's bad enough to have real barriers that you need answers to, but geez, if you make some up that really aren't there, but what if, right? Oh,
right.
God. Don't get me started. Oop, too late.
All right, so here's a strange thought. Seeing as how we're being a little strange today.
Yeah.
The only purpose of buying and selling real estate is to make money. And if it's only profitable or unprofitable according to your actual offers made and accepted. So the only purpose of buying and selling real estate is to make money, and it's only profitable or unprofitable according to your actual offers made and accepted.
Sure. Makes sense.
And the weirdest thing in the world to me is most fail or most fall into the trap of only doing things one way. Especially if they've gotten good or just fair results. They figure they found the secret sauce. They know what to do now.
Well, they had a win, so you can't blame them too much for like trying to replicate it, right?
Right, but they predicate everything else off of that. Like everything is revolved around that. I mean, I'll give you a classic example of this. Right, no disrespect to any of the listeners to us right now. But I'll venture there is a large number of them that have done deals by accident. Because the economy is so good right now, it's kind of hard, or it has been for the last several years, it's kind of hard to lose money. You buy a house for 100 and 2 months later you sell it for 120. Not because you were clever, not because you found a good deal, not because you structured it right, not because you fixed it up and it did a really good job fixing it up. No, it's because the economy had a lot of appreciation. And you sold the property and made money. And you're like on your high horse. I know, because I have a partner like this. Not been through the downside yet. and thinks that the gift is from him. Thinks that his talent is the reason why he's making money. Well, there is some talent to it because you did find the deal and you did negotiate it and you did get it closed when you bought it, when you acquired it, right? So there is some truth to that.
Yeah, but you're saying how hard is it to sell hamburgers to a starving audience?
Right. Exactly right. I'll give you another quick example. So I'm doing a deal right now, right? My youngest daughter has decided she wants to buy a house. Emma, everybody knows Emma.
She wants to buy a house.
Yeah.
Had a girl.
So strange. It came out of the blue. Like she's like, right. So I take her out a couple Sundays ago. I think last Sunday, my ex-father-in-law, her grandfather, passed away. So we went to the funeral and we went to the after thing. And I said to her, "Come on, let's go. Where are we going? We're going to go for a ride." Her and her boyfriend, live-in boyfriend. They've been together for years. They should be married. So the point is I know that he's a little bit out there. He doesn't have his toe in the puddle. You know, he has some ideas of what he thinks he's going to do when he buys a house. So let's go house shopping. So there's a few neighborhoods because we're in Wallingford and the median price here is like $300,000. And they're approved for that, but they don't want that big of a mortgage. So I'm like, okay, I'll take you to some neighborhoods where I think you could buy something for like $200,000. So we're driving around for a couple hours. You know, we're just kind of chit-chatting and everything. And I drop them off and I think to myself, I can't have this. So I got a deal for them right now, right? That I don't want to talk about because we're in the middle of it. But the house comp for $218, I'm paying $95.
Oh boy.
Why is that? It's not because of the economy. I beat the economy. That, and I'm not bragging about my skills, but that is how you do it, is knowing where to look and how to look for it. Right? So I got a house that's, you know, maybe $100,000. We'll say it's $100,000, but it's 50% on the dollar. And oh yeah, by the way, there's somebody living in this house. This is not like a total wreck, rehabbed, vacant house that's like dilapidated. This is a real house. I mean, they will need to do improvements. I mean, the guy's been there for 15 years that's living in it. So there will need, you know, paint and carpet, maybe a kitchen, you know what I mean? But that's not stuff they need to do to move in. They can clean it and paint it and move in a weekend if they wanted to. So this is not like a really...
They're not even in a hurry. They don't have to move from where they are on a schedule. They can leave when they want.
Exactly. All right, let's move on with the podcast because we're already 19 minutes in. So first thing I'd like to start off with, and this is new, Peter. You're going to like this. This is not new. This is just something that I kind of been... Anyways, I've been kind of in my own world. So first thing I'd like to start off with is the only 5 reasons a seller will deal with you if they like you. If they don't like you, if you piss somebody off, then nobody's dealing with you. But if they like you, and that's not hard to do, there's only 5 reasons why they would deal with you. Number 1, make money. Number 2, you save them money.
Okay.
Number 3, you save them time. Number 4, they avoid effort. Number 5, they escape mental or physical pain or stress.
Yeah. Good.
5 reasons why somebody would deal with you if they like you. In other words, if there's some affinity or some liking between the two of you, right? 1, they want to make money. 2, they want to save money. 3, they want to save time. 4, they want to avoid effort on their part. And 5, they want to escape mental or physical pain or stress.
Yep.
Make sense?
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. But after you said the first 2, I got an idea where you pull the idea to come up with the list. And I'm not going to say. It's just between you and I. But I guess the third one, because I see where you were tracking. It's very clever, though. Because Bill is using some very basic principles of life that are fundamental principles of life that are like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. And you can take those and extrapolate these ideas. End the story. Keep going. That was cool. Very clever.
But before I get ahead of myself, let me paint this picture in your imagination. So what I'm about to teach you is crystal clear and simple to use.
Okay.
First, the word empathy gets misused most of the time you see or hear it. The word empathy gets misused most of the time when you see or hear it.
Right.
So Webster defines empathy as, Webster's dictionary defines empathy as an experience in the imagination through the feelings or actions of another person, like feelings, thoughts, or attitudes. So empathy is an experience in your imagination through the feelings or actions of another person, like feelings, thoughts, or attitudes.
So you're imagining that you understand the other person, what they're going through.
So let's just take one example. This is an example that I can think of, and this actually happened to me. My mother, who is probably, I think she's 80 now, or 79 or 80, for a period of her life, like in her midlife crisis, she vicariously lived through my sister, who's a year younger than me. And she was probably at the time in her 40s. So what does that mean, vicariously live through their life? This is exactly like with what Mr. Zuckerberg is trying to do. You put on these goggles and you live a life, a fantasy life that you want. Whatever it may be. Maybe you're skiing, maybe you're playing football, maybe you're boxing, maybe you're, I don't know, talking to somebody else. We actually had an idea, Peter, my coach and I actually had an idea that I left this idea because it's not my world.
Yeah.
We had an idea where we could sell to the listeners right now those goggles that we're talking about that you could put on. And what you would do is walk through a house and talk to a seller as you're walking through a house so people could practice it. And that was my idea, but I'm not smart enough to make it happen. So,
Bill, when I bought my kitchen at the local chain, international store, after they designed it, they put me in a blank room, and they put goggles on. They clicked the button, and I went like this. So there's my cabinets, there's my sink, there's my window, and it was like I was walking around the room seeing my new kitchen.
there you go.
So I actually know what you're talking about because they have that stuff.
Yeah, exactly right.
They just click buttons and they designed it, and there's the nice blue color. That's cuckoo. It was kind of cool though. Right. I could open the door too. I could open the door and close it. Yep. Pull the drawer open and close it. It was absolutely nuts. Mary was scared to put it on. She thought she'd fall down because she would. It's true.
All right, good. So that's incredible. I didn't know that. So we know what the word empathy means now, right? So you're experiencing in your own imagination what somebody else is feeling or thinking or what kind of attitudes they have, right?
Yeah.
Now, take a moment and I prefer if you could close your eyes. You don't need to, but close your eyes and envision this. You're out west upon a mountain. And you hiked and hiked and hiked, and all of a sudden you go out to this clearing, and there you are, about 3 feet in front of a cliff that drops hundreds of feet. Just drops straight down. And about a quarter of a mile away, on the other side is another cliff, just like the one you're on. So there's a big chasm in there, like a big, like a valley in there. And you're standing on this side, and you need to get to the other side.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's that. Picture that, right? Now,
Got it.
Question is, how desperate do you need to get to the other side? Is there somebody chasing you with guns and they're trying to kill you, and you only have a couple seconds to get from this cliff to the other cliff? Do you have all summer to do it because it's springtime and you have plenty of materials and you have all summer to do it? Or are you just not that interested? You're just like, well, if I get there, it'll be good, but I really don't need to go there. I could just turn around and go back home to my cabin.
Right.
Okay? Now, picture this. Instead of you standing on that cliff, it's your seller is standing on where you are right now. Like, suppose where you are right now, that's your seller. And you're on the other side of the cliff saying, come on over here. Come on. Come on.
Okay.
I can buy your house. Come on, I can solve your problems. But there's this big cliff between you and them. And you're yelling at them. Come on over. No, come on over. No, trust me. Just step off the edge of the cliff.
Oh, God.
Right?
Yeah.
Would they do it?
Well, it depends on if they think people are chasing them with guns. They have all summer to do it. They can turn around and go home. You'll make them more money. You'll save them money. You'll save them effort. You'll save them some mental anguish and time. That's my guess.
But you're on the other side of the cliff. You don't know that. You don't know what they're going through because you're on the other side of this cliff.
And there's too much distance to get the communication, to get the information. Oh, I see. Okay, keep going. Where are you going with this? Now what? I'm listening.
So do I build a bridge from me to him, to the seller?
Well, what if you could build a bridge from him to you?
Go. There you go.
Would that be better?
Yeah, what would be even better is if you could get on the other side of the cliff and help him build a bridge together. You and him build the bridge across it. So is he going to be involved? Let me give you a strange example, right? So I know because I have helped our church raise millions of dollars to buy a new church.
Yep.
And one of the things that I have learned from my wife, believe it or not, who is genius at this, is if you want people to donate money or help you or join the group, like there's some staff members there, there's people that actually work for the church themselves. They have to feel like they're part of the group. So the highest donors are the ones that are trying to raise the money because they believe in the cause the most.
Right.
So if you're helping your seller by helping them build the bridge, they're invested in the deal. They're just like the donation, like the donor. The donor's helping raise money, right? So they're going to donate more money. So if you're on the other side of the cliff with your seller and helping them build a bridge from where they are to where they want to go. Now picture this. So take the part about where you're on two sides of the bridge, right? So you get over to the cellar, and it's you and the cellar standing there looking at the cliff, looking across at the other cliff where you came from.
Right.
And there's this big present, like a Christmas present, wrapped with a bow on it.
On the other side.
And that's what the seller wants, is what's in that box.
Wow.
And that seller wants to get there so bad, but has barriers and frustrations and questions and doesn't know how to build the bridge.
Right.
And you're like, don't worry about it. I'm going to get the Corps of Engineers over here, man. We're going to build this bridge, and we're going to be over there in about 4 or 5 days. Or a month.
Yeah, well, if he thought you're the guy who could do that, you're in. That's your point.
Or, no. Yeah, so I think I'm doing a bad job of this. So, yes, you are 100% correct. Mm-hmm. But how do you convince him that you're the right guy?
Well, that's the point. Yeah.
By helping him start to build the bridge. You're there with him cutting trees down and getting logs and getting rope and you're there working just as hard as he is to help him with his problem. You're sweating and working sun down to sun up, helping him build that bridge to get to his prize at the other side.
Mm. So that's like, I'm working with a foreclosure, as you know, a person. I'm not going to get in a long story, but it's not good. There's no money for them in the house. They got an offer of like $75,000 less than they owe. Cash. $75,000 less than they owe. That ain't working. So he's just trying to get out of there with his life. He's sending me documents. He's calling me. He's in trouble. And he's asking me questions. How do I do this? What do I do? What can I do? And I'm helping him. And there's no one else. It's just me.
Right. And you're helping him build a bridge. And you are of the mind, because I know you. You're of the mind, like, if I can help him stay in the house, that would be a good thing. Yeah.
Well, they're a long way from that. And they're a long way from, can I walk away with $15,000, $20,000? There's like, can I walk out of here without having to pay anything? How do I get out of here? Is where he's at. How do I get out of here? So I'm helping him. I came up with an idea we just talked about. So I know what you mean. Like you're working with somebody. Like, what's going on? How are you doing? Right. Like, what are you trying to do? I'm trying to move over there. When? Right away. But
that's a whole different scenario than I'll give you $300,000 for your house and make your problem go away.
Yeah.
It's a whole different type of a transaction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Your job with word formulas are to build a bridge across this chasm where you are so the seller can safely cross. Realize most can't make this leap unless they make up their mind first.
Always.
Which brings me to 3 simple word formulas to light a fire under the seller's butt and want to do the deal and get moving. Here they are. 1, define it. 2, agitate it. 3, solve it. Number 1, state the problem the seller has. So many recordings and so many people I listen to, the seller will say blah, 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 and the investor or entrepreneur doesn't say, so what you're saying is that you're in foreclosure and they're going to close in 30 days and you have no place to go.
Yeah, I've seen you do that in the house. They'll say something, you repeat it back to them, and you'll say, "Is that it? Is that right?" And it's not always right. It's like, well, not exactly. So even what they're saying isn't right. So you can't assume what they're saying is even it. You have to check, and you check, and they go, "Well, not really," and then you can check. Because you really have to find out. And I watch you do that, and I go, wow. You have to ask. It's crazy.
The interesting thing is it's like therapy for them because they don't always know what their problem is. And you're working it through with them. You're making them think about things they normally wouldn't think about. Because here's what I said in the description. You ready? Let me go find it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would think they know exactly what they're worried about, but I've talked to people in trouble. No, I talked to people in trouble. You've told me you've gone into like houses where all the envelopes, the mail is piled up. They won't even open it. They won't look. Foreclosure, whatever's going on. People don't always look at their problems. Think about it. They don't look. It's painful. They don't want to know. They close their eyes. So they don't have it all sorted out.
So in the description I said, and I only know this because I have personally seen them put sellers through the mental process and sets them up to do business with you. So you have to put them through the mental process of how is this going to happen. And what you bring to the table is the process. If you've just listened to this podcast enough, you know how things work more than they do.
Yeah. But you have to tell them. Just because you know doesn't mean that they know. You have to say it to them, and then it reassures them. Because I've seen you do that too.
So here's another example in today's environment. You want to sell your house, but so does everyone else. So?
Yeah.
So if you say that you're a seller, so you want to sell your house. So does everyone else that's on the market. So do the other 300 people that have their house on the market right now. They want to sell their house too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You need to define the seller's problem as soon as you know it, or you can spot it. Then, and only if you state the problem or pain or annoyance and the seller agrees with you with your evaluation. Right? So you need to state the problem first, like we just talked about. So you're saying that the reason why you can't sell is because blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Right? So we always talk about you got to get price, you got to get payment, you got to get duration, and you got to get duration of the payments, and then you got to get deposit if they talk about it. So when you're in the price section, so how much were you asking for the house? $300,000. Okay, how did you come up with that number? Well, the guy down the street sold it for $300,000. My house is better than his. Okay, good. What happens if you don't get to $300,000? What are you going to do?
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right? How many times have I said that sitting in the house? If you don't sell me your house today, what are you going to do? What you're checking for is plan B. Mm-hmm. Because if they're shunning you and saying, go, 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 I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that, in their mind, probably or their imagination, they have a plan B they think they can resort to. They have another idea they think that they can exert. They may not know the idea fully, and they may not know the results of that idea. It may just be imagined, like, oh, I'm going to go get a cash buyer. Here's one. I'll give you a perfect example of this. If you have been trying to do real estate in 2020, 21, or 22, you're going to have heard this 100%, especially if you're on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Well, in Connecticut for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go get one of those cash buyers from New York.
Yeah.
Because New York guys were selling all these big properties and they were coming into Connecticut and buying stuff up because they wanted the money to keep working, especially in New Britain, Connecticut, because there was a lot of 10 family houses, 15 family houses, and so they would sell their place in New York for $1.5 million, and they'd come to Connecticut on a 10-family house and pay $400,000 for it. So they feel like they're getting a rob job because they're buying a 10-family. They're making $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
They get $1.5 million. They pay their closing and their capital gains tax, and they come over here and they pay $400,000 for a property here, and they got $900,000 left. Right?
They go buy another one.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So we talked about this before, and I don't want to get into this again because we're kind of running against time here. But my point is, where did the seller come from before you talk to them? That's important to know. Like the example I give is you're on the phone with the seller, and what happens if you're on the phone with them, say at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 9 o'clock that morning, they spoke to their bank, and they find out that they have 30 days left on their foreclosure, and they're going to get evicted. How do you think that conversation is going to go with you at 2 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, reverse the situation. They spoke to their realtor at 9 o'clock that morning and found out that the house is worth $200,000 more than they thought it was worth.
Oh, boy.
How's that conversation going to go with you at 2 o'clock?
That's a bonanza.
See what I'm saying? So you got to know where they're coming from, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're on the cliff, who's chasing them and why are they chasing them?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have to go handle the person that's chasing them before you could build the bridge. So you have more time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now that the problem is stated and you and the seller agree, yes, this is my problem, now you need to agitate it. Talk about this roadblock enough and not too much so they start to get nervous. Not too nervous. You're not being a merchant of chaos here. You're not trying to sell chaos or sell fear.
No, but
you're
like
just
I was
trying
saying,
to get them real.
Yeah, because I was saying before, and you've seen this way more than I have. They won't look. I mean, look, talk to any of your friends who have problems, and they don't want to think about it. They don't have a job. Well, I don't know. I can't find one. I'm not going to look. And they sit home. You better go do something, and they don't, or whatever it is. You know, I think my wife's mad at me. She doesn't like me anymore. Do something. I don't know what to do. Do something, but they don't. You know, they don't talk to each other. I've seen relationships. They don't talk about what's going on. They're afraid to. So these guys don't have it figured out. So they're like, I look at it like this. From what you're saying, they're below sea level. Like they're below par on the problem. You're at least bringing them up to. You're not making them insane on it or like being mean about it. You're just bringing them up to the reality of it, right?
So what happens with those, Peter, exactly what you're saying is those people are not differentiating. Everything is dangerous. They're not looking at the things that aren't dangerous. Everything in the room is dangerous. Instead of saying, well, you know what, that bookcase over there isn't dangerous. So their association is too connected. It's all connected. So everything, it's a generality, everything about this house is a problem.
Talking about it. They don't want to talk about it because it's all bad.
Right.
But then, so somewhere on the line, we got to do something that gives them like a little ray of hope. Is that the next step?
So what you're doing is you're differentiating like what's dangerous, what's not dangerous, what's good, what's bad. That's what you're doing, right? That's very high advanced. But you need the situation to become worse in the seller's head. Now, how do you know how much agitation you should give them? That's not too much. And the answer is, when they're ready to take action, you've done enough.
Yeah, if they say something like, well, how does that work? Or
what are you talking about?
Yeah, what would you? How do you do that? Or what would you do?
Like
just something
like
a
closing call I did. The closing call I did Monday night on the coaching call. The girl says, "So how does that? How does the closing work?"
Yeah, how do you do the closing?
She didn't want to know about the closing. What she wanted to know about is when is she going to get paid and how does that work? Because after answering the question, one or two more questions down the road, she wanted to know, well, how do I get the money every month? That was the real question.
Yeah.
But we had to work through it in her mind. We had to go across the cliff and start helping her build the bridge so she can start seeing it. You need the situation to become worse in the seller's head. If it doesn't feel like it could hurt, your seller will not move, even dispute you. Here's an example. To make matters worse, if you go with a realtor, you'll have to keep the house immaculate, or have a bunch of let me do this again. If you go with a realtor, you're going to have to keep the house immaculate for unplanned showings. Do repairs you really don't want to do, then give away about 10 or 15% of your profit for their fees.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, and they don't help you with any of that either. They don't come over with a broom.
Plus, you got strangers tramping through your house all the time looking at your shit. So you got to keep stuff hidden. You got to keep your personal things. So this is like, you have a hotel. People are coming there to stay, like an Airbnb, and you got to keep like your personal stuff hidden or locked away or something like that. Mm-hmm. Then, if you don't live there, you'll have the problem of tipping your hat to your tenants that you're selling.
Oh, yeah.
Now knowing that you're selling, they're possibly not going to pay you, or they're going to go find another place to live and move out, and you're out without rent. And if you're lucky and don't have tenant issues, you now have to deal with the government on capital gains tax of 16 to 38%, depending on your tax bracket and how you own the house, of your profit. So you're going to give away 16 to 38% of your profit, which means between the closing cost and capital gains tax, you'll be giving away up to 50% of your earned profit.
Yep.
That's agitating the problem. Right? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, and again, it's not like you're being mean to them. You just get up to the reality, the way I look at it, of what's really happening. Because It's like the ostrich with his head in the sand.
Right. You know, how many times have I just talked to a guy the other day. He's got 3 multifamily houses, and I talked about capital gains. He said, oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. Now this guy owns 70 houses.
How many?
70.
And you didn't think of it? Ooh.
How come? What did I say? He owns 70 houses.
Free and clear?
Well, who cares?
Oh, okay.
He owns 70 houses, which means that he's good at buying them and keeping them and renting them. He's probably not good at selling them.
Yeah.
He owns 70 houses.
Yep.
Doesn't mean he knows how to sell them. It means he knows how to buy them, renovate them, put people in there, collect rents, pay taxes, fix toilets. He may not be good at selling houses. See how, just like what you did. See, this is what I'm talking about. When I turn my head, right? How many ears do you see? You see 1 ear. You don't see 2. You're assuming that I have 2 ears. With him, you're assuming he knows how to buy and sell real estate and make money because he has 70 houses.
Smart accountants, a good lawyer, somebody tell him, hey, why don't you do this with that? But a lot of people don't care and don't go out of their way if you're wasting your money. So, yeah.
So you assumed with this guy, right away your mind went with this guy that's got 70 houses that he's a guru and he knows all the stuff that you know. And he doesn't. You have to only see what's happening, what's in front of you. If you take a bottle of water and put it on a table, you sit on one side, I sit on another side, we're both looking at a bottle of water, but you're looking at the ingredients and I'm looking at the label of the name of the water. Mm-hmm. We see 2 different things. It's a bottle of water, but you see, all the, whatever they have on the back of a bottle of water. We'll just say all the ingredients.
Yeah, it's H, and O.
Yeah. And I see on the other side of it the name of the company that bottled the water.
Yeah.
2 different things. Mm-hmm. You have to be observant.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't assume anything. But you did it the right way. You asked, kind of gently or, politely about capital gains. So just to jog his memory, so you don't insult him if he did think of it, or don't insult him if he didn't.
And
just
we
ask,
talked about that in podcast number 316. We talked about not making them feel stupid.
Exactly. That's why I brought that up. Yeah. So I remember some of the stuff we talk about.
Nice. Now we move into number 3. Introducing the solution. So you name the problem, you agitated it, and by agitating it means you brought reality to it. Like you're telling him point blank, listen, dude, your imagination is pretty wild, and it's not going to happen this way. I have a deal right now that I'm doing that I've been working on for 3 months. The lady owes $56,000. It's on a house. It's on a gorgeous house in Akron, Ohio. She owes $55,800 and something, right?
Yeah.
She tells me she would sell the house for what she owes on it, and I figure that she owes about $50,000 based on my calculations. So I give her an offer like $60,000, $63,000 or something like that. She's like, yes, I'll do that. So I kind of suspected that there was something going on. So I asked her to send me a mortgage statement. Well, lo and behold, she owes $55,800 and something. We'll say $56,000. But she has a loan modification of $27,000. So she owes $82,000. So now I tell her, well, I could still buy your house, no problem. I'll pay the $82,000, but the only way I could do that is to take over your payments.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. She's got a sister telling her not to do that. Anyways, long story short, here's what happened. She says the bank will do a short sale with her, which is like, no way they're going to do a short sale. No way. Why would they want to do a short sale? They could sell this house for $90,000. Why would they want to? And it's gorgeous. It doesn't need any work. She's done a great job keeping the house, right? So here's what I did. I played the game. Okay, let's do the short sale. So we're in the process of a month now, sending the bank the documents for the short sale. Why? Because she wasn't going to sell me the house any other way. And how much time did it take me I had to come up with some documents. I got less than an hour into the deal.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I think the bank's going to do the short sale.
What's the number now? Tell us the number now.
I wrote a purchase and sales contract for $56,000.
Back where you started, kind of.
Yeah. I backed up because she said, what happened to the $63,000? Oh, no. I think if we do that, because here's the reason why I did that. It's because if she owes $56,000, what happens to the other $4,000? So well, you can't give her any money. The bank's going to want it all.
I saw something just recently that there's some stipulation they can have $1,000 or a few thousand for walking money. Yep. They might allow that. I've seen that as a possible. So
my point is that I just said to her, I'm just going to short sale. I'm going to ignore the $27,000 in fees and payments and all that kind of stuff and just go after the original loan amount. So I wrote it for like $200 above the loan amount. See what happens. Point is that I had to state the problem. I had to agitate it, and I agitated it, call after call after call, and she had somebody in the background giving her advice that was not correct, and would de-agitate my agitation. Then the solution was, okay, I'll do your short sale. So then we move into number 3, which was where we're at. Introduce the solution. You solve the roadblocks, fears, concerns, questions by making an offer that handles them all in one fell swoop. Example. When you let us make monthly payments, you can avoid house tramperers. No realtor. Spooking the tenants. And save you a ton on closing costs, thousands of dollars on closing costs, and capital gains tax. Let me explain. Then you go into the benefit after benefit after benefit. Now here's a little secret. 99% of all investors don't know. When you 3x to 5x your benefits, only focus on the seller's desires. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
That cliff on the other side of the chasm, the one with the present on it? In other words, you push the results the seller wants.
Of course.
Stay away from all the features of the deal structuring. And so many times I have coaching clients that get into the weeds on the deal structuring. Well, we're going to do a subject to, and we're going to do this and that, and they talk about all the features. We're going to call the bank. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, and they talk about the features too much. We call that giving them a seminar.
Yep.
Right. Then you talk about what action you want them to take. So the benefits are going to be what the seller wants. Now, it may not be real. Like in my particular case, I'm talking about, with my example, I'm talking about doing the short sale with the lady. I even said to her, if I do this, if I do all this work and I put all this paperwork together and the bank says no, am I going to be able to take over your payments and do a subject to deal? I didn't say it that way, but I asked her.
Yeah.
She said, well, I don't know. Let's get there first. But if the bank doesn't take a short sale and the bank doesn't allow her to do it and says she still owes $82,000 and the house is only worth $90,000, what is she going to do? She's going to allow me to do it because of all this help I helped her with. What is the word, Peter?
Reciprocate?
Reciprocate?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another word. Remuneration.
Remuneration?
Remuneration, yes. Which is paying back somebody when they think they owe you.
Yeah.
Right? So if you do all this work and you help them, they feel like they're obligated to pay you back. They feel like they're obligated.
Well, what does Zig Ziglar say, Bill?
Exactly.
If you help somebody, you help somebody, you help somebody, you help somebody, they will help you.
Exactly. So here's an example of this. So if you want to close in a few weeks or any other time, on their timeline, without doing any showings except to me, spooking your tenants, or have a very low closing costs and save a ton on capital gains tax, all we need to do is get my simple 2-page document signed so we can get started right away.
Yep. Simple, painless, quick.
Yeah. But you concentrated on the features. Okay, so let's wind down to the last word formula that I have. To finalize this deal, or if they're still on the fence, here's what you need to do. 3 steps. Before, after, and the bridge. I don't have a fancy name for it. Start with before. Talk about the way things are now. Typically, there is a problem. If they are not salivating for your offer, you miss something. Find out what is making them unhappy. And all of a sudden, going through this rigorous process now. So I always say this. It is not easy to sell a house. It's a lot of work to sell a house, even if you have a realtor. It's a lot of work to sell your house. So that means that the prize is bigger than the pain.
It has to be.
The prize is bigger than the effort. And remember what I told you? All those 5 things in the beginning, right?
There's the effort,
so the prize,
the pain, the time, the money.
The prize of making money, saving time, avoiding effort, escaping mental or physical pain and stress is bigger than any of that.
Yep.
Okay? So start with before. Talk about why are they selling the house now? Why all of a sudden? You've owned this house for 18 years. Why all of a sudden you're selling it now?
Yeah. What happened?
Right? Find out what is making them unhappy and all of a sudden going through this rigorous process of selling now. Okay? So that's before. Like, right? It's even though we're talking about it now, it's like before. So what happened? So what Peter
something
says
precipitated that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Something precipitated it.
So Peter says, scan back and tell me when you decided to sell your house. In your mind. Scan back in your mind and tell me when you decided to sell your house. Right? And they say, oh, well, February 18th. Okay, good. What happened right before that? And that's the reason why. Okay?
Yep.
So once you talk about the before, like the situation and the pain, right? Then introduce the after. Ask them to imagine their life without the house or whatever result they desire. So ask them to imagine what would it be like not to make those payments? What would it be like to not cut the grass? What would it be like to have that $30,000? What would you do with it? and get them to think of the after. Get them to paint that picture in their own mind. Once they have overcome the roadblocks and the barriers with all their questions answered, get them to picture that. So you pictured the pain, and then you pictured the relief with them, right? Then use the bridge. Here's the path to get there. Here is how we have helped so many other people before you. It is the bridge you helped the blind to get from one cliff to the next. Start with before, introduce after, and then the bridge as the solution.
It's a map. Where are you? Where are you going? Here's how you get there.
Right. Yes. These are the safest formulas that work. Now, I know I covered a lot today. There's a lot of profound stuff here today. And it sounds like it's pretty deep. But go back and listen to this podcast again and write down some of the things I'm talking about. Yeah. They are very natural when you're doing this. You're probably already doing them now. You're just not cognizant of it or aware of it. You're doing it instinctively. So all I'm asking you to do is to notice or observe when you are doing it and do start, change, stop on each one of the formulas.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if people think they shouldn't be doing things like this, because you're talking to people, you're asking questions, you're invading their privacy. But I assure you, it's really okay, because sometimes the guy I'm talking to right now, Bill, folks, the wife stopped paying the mortgage 2.5 years ago and didn't tell him. And he didn't know. Isn't that crazy? No. But, you know, he needs somebody to talk to say this. He's not even that terribly upset. I'd be more upset. But anyways, I think it's...
I know someone
to do that.
I know someone like that. The wife didn't pay the mortgage for 1.5 years, and they were foreclosing on the property, and she tried committing suicide because of it. Ugh. Fortunately, she didn't kill herself. But when the husband found out what was going on at her hospital bed, on the side of her hospital bed...
Oh my God, got that far. Oof.
He was like, "Are you kidding me?
Nuts.
You tried to kill yourself because of that? Come on, we'll move."
Yeah, but it was the guilt of not telling him and all that stuff.
They were in strict foreclosure, and I took them out of foreclosure. They called me. I went to the hospital, and I called from the hospital in the waiting room. I called my attorney. I called from the hospital in the waiting room. Ooh. And I got the bank to take it out of strict foreclosure.
Tell us what that means. Bill, tell us what that means.
Strict foreclosure means they had no equity, and they were giving the deed in lieu of the debt because there's no equity. So they didn't need to do foreclosure. They only do foreclosure when you have equity, so that they can sue you and get the title, get the deed back. So the lender isn't accused of equity stripping. In other words, stealing your equity. Right? So strict foreclosure is when there's no equity. So I got the bank to give them the deed back, and they gave them a forbearance agreement. Forbearance means an agreement after an agreement. So they had all these agreements, and I got them to do it. And here's the best part. I didn't buy the house. This is actually a relative this happened to me too, right? So I didn't buy the house, right? I got them out of foreclosure. She got out of the hospital. They went a whole year and did good, made the payments. And then all of a sudden something happened. They couldn't make the payments. So they went back into strict foreclosure. But this time they called me. Now, I'm not going to talk about this deal because it's a fascinating deal. 3 or 4 months later, we sold the house, and I got them to give her $35,000. It paid all the debt on the house. They got like $5,000, and they moved out of state.
Wow. So you're telling me that, folks listening, if you do this right, you can save lives.
Yeah.
Life-saving.
That's what I just told you.
That's crazy, Bill. Never heard that one.
These are the safest word formulas that work for more than real estate, by the way. They work for any business. These formulas make people They take people through the mental process of making decisions. That's what you specialize in. Test each formula to find the one that works for you and your sellers, and soon you'll notice the bonds and the repeat business you will always get. So thank you for listening to us today. Make sure you go into the description and click on the link. Please make sure that you subscribe to us and like us or dislike us. Just leave some sort of response. If you want to check us out, you can go on YouTube. We have hundreds of videos on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and type in flippinghousesforrookies.com. You can go to Facebook, same thing. Facebook is flippinghousesforrookies.com. We live stream all these, so you can go watch the videos or get the soundtracks. You can also go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. On the top, there's a podcast link there, so you can go on the podcast link. When you get on the podcast page, you can type in, because there's 317 podcasts, you can type in the topic you're interested in, and it will bring up the podcast pertaining to that topic. So you don't have to weed through all 317 recordings to find what you want. Okay? And then, of course, if you need any help, just go to support, and I answer those tickets every day. So the link in today's description is actually a checklist of how to do all this. So go check it out. Okay?
That sounds good.
So we're over and out. Thanks for listening to us, and thanks for all the support. Have a good week. Talk to you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.